So we've done one version of this project using the watercolour and ink, which was kind of more in line with the Charles Keeping way of doing things. So what I'm going to show you, or what we're going to go through now, is a kind of approach which kind of brings in the pen and the ink and also the collage, so kind of in line with the work of Lucy Jones. So last week I'd also done this kind of sketch in my sketchbook, and so I thought what I would do is kind of maybe use this as a piece for the collage. So I've taken this picture, and what I'd also would like to do is to combine, put this lady into the picture as well. So what I then did was I've kind of redone the drawing, just very, very kind of sketchy, but I've added this kind of lady in proportion to, the right size and where she might be in the picture. So I've got her kind of coming in on this side, just sort of looking down at some flowers. So my next kind of step is really to kind of now do more of a sort of final kind of rough sketch, which is what I've done on here. So I've literally just traced this onto my kind of slightly sturdier paper. I'm using a piece of watercolour paper, but again, you don't have to. You can use some cartridge paper for this. And I've gathered together all of my kind of collaging materials. So, I've kind of collected sort of bits and bobs throughout the week, things that I thought might be appropriate. I like the use of kind of brown paper and the inside of envelopes and things like that. So these are going to be my collaging material. So what I will need for this is a pair of scissors. The only glue that I've got in the house is the Yoo-hoo glue, but actually if you've got Pritt Stick, that's probably even better than this, because it just sort of sticks immediately and it kind of dries immediately, and it's a lot better than the Yoo-hoo, but that's all I've got, so I'm just going to have to go with it. So I will be using my scissors to cut shapes out. I'll also be sort of tearing and just kind of building this kind of image up as I'm going along. And then I'll use some pen over the top to do some line work as well. So let's get started. So the first bit that I'm going to do is really the kind of top of the building. So if we kind of look at my, look at my picture, you can kind of see this kind of building, the brickwork at the top. So I'm going to use this kind of brown paper to kind of put that part in first. So I'm just going to put that back up there as my reference. So let's, I need it to be slightly bigger. So I'm just kind of positioning that there. I'm just going to cut that off. Right, I'm just going to take that little bit off, which is that little triangle there, and then I'm just kind of lifting it up because I've also got this kind of arch thing happening here. So I'm just going to cut those out. Okay, so that's my first piece that I'm going to stick on. So get my Yoo-hoo. So I'm just kind of playing this, doing this by guesstimation really. I'm not going to be particularly precise with anything, because I think what's nice about Lucy's work is it's quite sort of random, and rough and ready. So just make sure those edges are kind of really nicely stuck down. That's why Pritt Stick is probably a lot better than Yoo-Hoo. Yoo-Hoo's really messy. Okay, so that's my first piece kind of stuck down. So the next bit really is to kind of then, I'm just going to concentrate on this building next, I think. Let's see if I can find a nice colour. Actually, I might use that as the back part of that building. So let's just tear that out. And I'm just going to really kind of build this up in small sections, really. Let's say that that's roughly there. Maybe it's doing something like that, I'm not even sure, but let's just give it a whirl. Yeah. Then just comes down. It just goes all the way up, and I'm just going to cut that off. Yeah, so that's kind of about right. Might just, what I'm going to do is actually just place the pieces on first without kind of gluing it on, really. Yeah, and then maybe use some of the other bits of the paper to then build up the other kind of pillars of the building. Need another little bit there, and then I need another teeny little slither down here. So I'm not sticking to the colours that I can see in the building, I'm just kind of making them up, really. There's a great kind of freedom about doing something like this. Not sure about that face there, so I might replace that with something else. Yeah, so that looks quite nice. Obviously I need to cut little bits out, but what I'm going to do is kind of carry on building the picture up just like this, and instead of you kind of watching me do all of this, I'm going to stop the film and put it on that kind of fast speed so you can see it kind of being built up over time, and I'll catch you back here when I'm ready to start doing the pen work over the top. So for the pen work, I thought I think I'm going to use the Sharpie. So I've got my thin Sharpie and my thick one as well. Because if I use a kind of ink, a liquid ink type of of product on here, because of the different types of paper, I think it will all bleed because some of this is kind of newspaper, etc. So I think the safest bet is really to use the Sharpie. So I've got my picture here, and I've already started on here, and so I'm going to go ahead and now start putting in some of this detail using the picture as reference. So once again, I'm going to speed you through this and meet you on the other side. Okay, so for me that is now done. So as you can see, I've kind of gone around some of the shapes with the thin Sharpie and also the thick Sharpie as well. And I think it's kind of worked out quite nicely. So just to recap, we have the watercolor method where we're using just pen and then kind of using a lovely kind of watercolor wash, okay? And then you have also got the collage method, where you're kind of collaging and using a pen. So you can have a go at doing either one of those. You can have a go at doing both of those. And I hope you enjoy this project as much as I have. Have fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody does this week. Good luck and have fun.